birthday, like just having fun out there in a boy run to like put it all out there, and just, it's still, when I see clips on YouTube or watch it back in the live stream, like it does make me emotional, because it was just such an amazing day.
Well, we'll have you stick around here, James the Machine Dean. Join us live from Ireland. This is Ryan Turk. He gets his bye run, so this is one step closer to fighting for that championship. We talked about the scenario. He would need to win the event, and Gittin Jr. abruptly stopped earlier in the competition, not going beyond Final Four. That is possible. That is a feasible, realistic approach, you know, and we do have, again, that consolation battle for third place, but Ryan Turk looks like he's back. He's comfortable. He admitted it. He had that mistake there on Friday night. He says it was completely on me, lost it, got slick, went into the wall, but his team and his vehicle looks like it's back up and buttoned up.
Yeah, I actually want to pick up on something that you said earlier on. I think that, you know, this obvious bye run for Turk is not that big of a deal. It's really just about going out there and doing it.
Right.
But he will not have drifted in the conditions that he had when he did his big crash until that time of the night again in the top 16. And I wonder, like, psychologically, how he feels about approaching that. And maybe we could ask you, James, like, I don't remember you having any...
Potentially look at putting maybe some wall or something solid on the last hook on the outside, because I can imagine at night time it must be almost impossible to see.
Yep.
All right, well, we're going to have you reverse roles here, James. You're going to be kind of our fourth judge, or maybe just our third commentator here. Want to get feedback about our first official head-to-head run here of round 8 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. And I'm sure your palms are sweaty, arms is ready, right? Mom Spaghetti, are you ready to... I feel like you being a driver, you're like, you don't like being a passenger, and you don't like being a judge or a commentator.
I do love watching it, but yeah, judging is definitely not for me. Respect to the guys that do it. They really put themselves out there, and they definitely try their best, but it's a seriously tough job, that's for sure.
Right on. All right, well, stick around. We're going to get your feedback here of our first head-to-head battle versus Dan Burkett and Jonathan Naren. And Dan Burkett, earlier in practice, I talked with his spotter, a.k.a. his wife, Renee, and she says setups were running the same, but all of a sudden it just got slick, exactly kind of like Ryan Turk's scenario, and Alec Robbins, got into the nose of him. So I'm glad to see him back and buttoned up. Naren, he got on the wall Friday and even today at practice earlier. So here we go. Dan Burkett loses a hood, popping off there as Burkett goes in, and there he goes into the bank once again. And here's the unfortunate circumstance. The hood popped off. That means that's going to be an incomplete ride. I mean, no hoods, trunks, doors can open during battle. I mean, you got to imagine Naren's like, holy cow, it looks like, you know, asteroids coming at him if he's in Star Wars. So Dan Burkett will finish this run, but unfortunately it was over as soon as that hood flew off. Bummer.
Yeah, and we did see that in St. Louis, right? With Odie Bakchis, we had that door fly open, so there's not going to be much of an analysis for James to take a look at here. But let's see when... And actually, it almost went right into Naren's car about a split second after that. So that is a massive bummer there.
It hung on for a little bit, and then it flew off in Naren's face.
You ever had that happen, James?
No, I haven't, thank God. But respect for Dan for still going for it. You know, he could have pulled out of the run totally, but he's putting on a show. And yeah, unlucky, that's for sure.
Don't ask Yoshihara about hood flying off. Don't ask him, but if you do, just remind him that it happened twice in one event. He has a sticker that faces him on his dash that says check hood pins. I don't know if he still runs that sticker, but yeah. So, hey, I asked, I don't know if you saw, but we had Robin Ishida on yesterday. We had Tanner Faust on Friday, but I got to ask you, you're the only better, you know, second to, or your top than Chris Forsberg, but here we go. Jonathan Naren, Dan Burkett. Naren initiates into the bank. A big deficit here for Dan Burkett as Naren jumps on that bank. Let's see how he handles this front clip. Quick little transition. The judges didn't want it, you know, they don't want it quick. They want it styly. They want good momentum. Here we go as Naren comes out of that second outside zone and tightens up to the front clip. Naren, oh boy, that got a little sketchy there on that transition as well and into that final outside zone. So Burkett with that losing of the hood, that is definitely going to be a deficit for him, and I think Naren just played strategy, gets the clean air. James, what in particular did you like about this run? Again, Naren and Burkett.
Yeah, it was quite enjoyable. I think he's struggling in the lead position a little bit. He seems to be fighting the car. So he was like in and out of the zone a bit, and Dan was kind of trying to chase his line. So a little bit of a tricky battle. His car definitely looks quick, but yeah, it's definitely going to go to Naren from the first issue Dan had with the hood, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. The ball is definitely in Naren's court. You can see Dan getting lost a little bit in the smoke there. And as you said, Jared, really overshooting that inside clip, you know, pointing to what James said about fighting the car. Is able to kind of get it back together here and hit that final and third outside zone. But unfortunately, with the hood popping up in competition from Burkett, he really needed Naren to incomplete on his lead run, and we just don't see that here.
And James, I'm seeing local time in Ireland, 9:48 p.m. So are you going to stick around and tie one on and watch this thing all the way till the end to find out who's champion?
Absolutely, 100%. I'm on LA time all week just watching the live stream, so it's good.
You're acclimating to the Pacific Standard Time. All right, let's make it official. Slide him left for Rad Dan or right for Jonathan Naren from North Carolina. Jonathan Naren enters in a top 16 competition. It is unanimous. He's ever driven. So here we go. Chelsea Denofa and Farouk Kawai. Denofa initiates a big gap there quickly. You can see Denofa sliding into the outside zone. Massive angle there from Chelsea Denofa. Farouk, middle of the bank. Let's see if we can catch him here on the inner bank, past that front clip. Good angle there from Chelsea Denofa. Again, the judges really pointed that out on that transition. Want to see the angle, not just the quick shimmy through that front clip. Ooh, Chelsea Denofa checking up maybe a little bit, but we talked about the excel and decel zones. That was a decel zone entering into that final outside zone. Farouk Kawai, unfortunately, not part of the equation here with Chelsea out front.
Yeah, I don't think the challenging part of this battle is going to be the lead run for Denofa. We know that he's got those on lock. It's really going to be about monitoring his approach on the chase run, but let's take a look to see what happened here. A big gap established. Denofa mid-high line on the bank, comes off right at the end, transitions through inside clip number one. Kind of a little bit lower than you'd like to see him on his lead run in outside zone number two. Farouk trying to gain some of that distance back. And as they switch into this final outside zone, Denofa, pretty good job there to finish it up, as Farouk now will have his opportunity to go to the lead. And Denofa chasing him down. You have to imagine that Denofa is going to employ some strategy here, try not to put himself in a position where a mistake is made. And we haven't seen Farouk a lot out on track this weekend, so there's a little bit of a variable there that we are unaware of.
Yeah, I'm sure he has some reservations just committing to it, initiating. He's driven with him before, Farouk and Chelsea, but here goes Farouk out front. Like you said, one of the wildest cars ever driven. He's low on the bank right now. He's working it up. You can see him shimming his way up top. And now past that front clip, let's see if Farouk can put something together here. Now down in that inner bank. You can see just dipping that back right toe in, talking about that back right next to tire, now coming into that front clip. You know, you got to think about this track. Almost has glimmers with that hook there. It almost reminds me a little bit of Seattle too, because you really got to bring all of it. You got the bank, you got this kind of power alley, which is essentially that front clip, and then going into that second bank, it's kind of a sweeper, and then boom, of course you wrap it up. Here we go. Let's take a look at it again.
Well, Farouk, nice little initiation there, but unfortunately it puts him on a much lower line. Denofa eyes it quickly. He gave some space that allowed him to make an attack here that wasn't going to put him in a compromising position. Just kind of backing off a little bit, giving a little bit of room. We know that Denofa had a pretty solid lead run. Farouk trying to match that, but Denofa is keeping the pressure on enough, I think, to give him the nod here without too much of an argument from any one of the judges. Through this final section here, we see Denofa getting much closer here to cap off this run against Farouk as they go to the finish line.
Scores are in. Let's slide them left for Denofa, right for Farouk Kawai, and there it is. Chelsea Denofa will get the win. Thank you so much, Farouk, for all your content. Who is Denofa going to go against? One of these gentlemen, Michael Essa and Rome Charpentier. So Michael Essa, we saw him on the box. He got second place. It was great to see him back up there in the FCP Euro, Litteral, Achilles tires. He had an engine swap as well. Again, taking it all the way to the podium, but he says he had a zip tie. The radiator cap thing was overheating, but now, man, he's not overheating. He's overheating those tires, those Achilles tires, as Rome Charpentier, that garagistic E36, now coming into that inner bend. Look at Rome sweating. Oh, just as we change camera angles there, I'm looking at, again, just the production here, not with my naked eye, so we'll need to play that back and see. I assume there was potentially some contact there because Rome was coming in hot on the door of Michael Essa. Ryan.
Yeah, he certainly was, and you love to see that aggressive driving, especially in the chase position, to try to capture some of that space between you and the lead car. But obviously something went wrong there. Rome went 4 tires off course and on the inside of inside clip number 2. Let's get a look at it from the start here in the sky. Nice little jump there by Michael Essa. High line on the bank, comes off at the right time, but Rome is kind of sweating him here, giving him a lot of pressure through inside clip 1. Here comes the surge, and right there where it looks like he touches him a little bit, has to back off, and once he does that, he's on the wrong line. So looks like a bit of a mistake there from Rome, just coming up too aggressively. We saw that from a couple of drivers, and we know that from inside clip 1 to outside zone 2, in that area where drivers are decelling and setting themselves up for that outside zone, a lot of action takes place there.
All right. And there's Stefan Papadakis, pretty elated seeing that thing do a burnout. Those guys are just celebrating it running. So it gives you any idea of just the stress that those guys have endured. All right, so tell everybody we are live. Hashtag FDIRW, tag again at Formula D, tag myself, Ryan Sage, and let's keep it going here.
Well, we're definitely going to, get a conclusion to this battle, but it's going to really come down, I think, to that first run there. At least it's going to be a major part of the equation here, because that is that decel zone. I wanted to see whether or not Michael Essa was back on throttle on time, and that could be a definitely contributing factor to the way that the judges go. But let's see the second half of this battle here and find out who's going to be moving on into the top 16.
Rome Charpentier will be leading, Michael Essa giving chase. Here we go with a second run of this top 32. We are in the NOS Energy Drink Top 32, the official energy drink of Formula Drift. Rome Charpentier coming out. Look at that quickly. You can see that flick right in front of Michael Essa. Rome high on the bank. Michael Essa actually surprisingly a little bit lower and reinitiates on the bank. Might have gotten thrown off there by Rome, but Rome going through the paces, filling that outside bank. Is this strategy by Michael Essa? Is he experiencing maybe some issues again? Doesn't look like Michael Essa that we saw the other night taking it to the top, but we'll have to take a look at it again. Did Rome throw him off somehow, or was that just independent that Michael Essa was doing the chase? Hey, we got the AEM Virtual Fan Zone back in the building. AEM, thank you to AEM for their support. And of course, AEM dry flow air filters are track proven, winning more FD championships than any other air filter brand. If you're looking for a proven horsepower increase for your car, check out AEMintakes.com.
Yeah, I think it's really going to come down to that first run, Jared. I want to see the first run again and whether or not Michael Essa was back on throttle once the decel zone ended. Because the second run here, as you said, it wasn't maybe the 100% that we saw from Michael Essa on Friday night. He had a moment right there coming off the bank where he was pretty close in proximity, but you can see right here, a bit of a lower line. Rome does look like the car is really cooperating with him. Does a great job passing through there with fluidity on inside clip number 2. And on this outside zone number 3, right at the edge there. Beautiful smoke line right on that white line through the finish line. So nice lead run there by Rome Charpentier.
And just a reminder, those red candlestick cones, basically that is considered the edge of the track. There is a white line, and the judges do know that they did stripe it, but eventually it will just decrease in vision. Here's the BC Racing custom coilover side-by-side instant replay run.
Let's keep an eye on Michael Essa in the lead, because like I said, I think it's really going to come down to whether or not he was back on throttle after the decel zone. Now, decel, he should be back on throttle right now, and then that's where the contact hit. So it's pretty close, but I think Michael Essa was back on throttle at the appropriate time, and I'm almost sure that the judges were looking at that side-by-side in giving their calculations here to try and figure out who's going to move on into the top 16.
I feel like Kenny Loggins here. I went into the outside zone, the danger zone. And there are the pylons I'm talking about. So you can see the white stripe, but just the more the shredders go across it, that just definitely dissipates. So the judges are saying, don't hit the red cones. Treat that as if a wall. So the deeper you are, the more damage you do to your vehicle. So if you nick it with your back, left bumper and just kind of knocks over, unless you punt it with the side of your car, that's a totally different story.
If you nick it with your back, it's going to be?
I don't know, Nickelback.
Fine?
It's fine. I don't know. I thought it was a Nickelback quote. I know you're a huge fan, so I just want to make sure. Nick back. All right. Nick Novak was last night. Nickel Novak. All right. So here's a replay here with Rome, Charpentier, and Essa. And here's a look at the big bank there. Rome, like you said, I like what you said about the car and the vehicle seems to be cooperating with Rome. Set it and forget it. You can see those front tires. Minimal corrections from Rome. Boy. Definitely a great spirit in the paddock and the pits. Rome Charpentier had an opportunity to hang with him at Grid Life in New Orleans just a few weeks ago. Rapping out with him about his program. And here we go. Slide him left for Essa, slide him right for Rome, and there's a one more time from Chris Yule. And Ryan Lontaine says Michael Essa. Eggert says, unfortunately, this is what happened in practice. Great segue there. You can see him, and whiz bang. Whew. So it goes in that right corner, or excuse me, the front right in that inner bank. But fortunately, I think it's a blessing for him. This is a bye run, so this allows him to kind of work out the kinks or put the kinks in his run, and just needs to make sure that his car's up and running, and he will continue on through the course. But Ryan,
Byron has had a couple instances this year of really hurting drivers in this battle, right? We saw Jeff Jones in Seattle, and we're seeing Kazuya Taguchi here. Luckily, Taguchi was able to get his vehicle operational, because all that Formula Drift requires for a bye run is that the vehicle is in working condition to leave the line. And so he did that. Obviously, if he was competing against somebody, such an entertainer in all of this in a really positive way, and making a lot of people smile, and that deserves some credit.
That's good. All right, looks like we will get a restart here. We're seeing and a cone was hit there by Jeff Jones. Now, a reminder, the chase car can leave the start line in order to pace with that lead car. The chicane instituted many moons ago to just pair up the car, so it's not a drag race from the start. You do see that horsepower disparity, or the difference, I should say, either overpowered, underpowered, regardless. Just want to see them go wheel to wheel, door to door on initiation. And that's the ideal scenario, but not always the case, because you do, again, have quite a difference sometimes in these vehicles. Jeff Jones back to the line. CPR Racing Engines, Edelbrock, Doc, see Top One Oil, running on some GT radials. Necks and tires underneath the vehicle of Masuyama. See if Jeff Jones can continue his success, or Masuyama make it in the top 16 here at the House of Drift. All right, we got a clear start. Jeff Jones initiates. He's had a lot of turn and burns here at this track. Masuyama making his debut. Jeff Jones and Masuyama hanging out in that smoke trail. Good transition angle past that front clip from both the drivers. Into that second outside zone as Jeff Jones, Masuyama taking a shallower line right on that front clip. On the inside clip is Jeff Jones, now coming into that last outside zone. And there it is. You can see it right in between that white line and those pylons, the candlesticks, as Masuyama almost goes in the back of Mr. Jones.
So Jeff Jones and Wataru Masuyama doing battle here in the top 32. Good little flick there by Jones. Midline on the bank, trying to pull a gap here on Masuyama, who's eyeing him up. Masuyama a bit higher there, but you can see Jones has some good angle as he comes off that first outside zone, but he could have been a little bit deeper up against the wall. Through the inside clip, great use of the decel zone there. Back on throttle right as the outside zone starts. Masuyama still being gapped a little bit here, trying to close the door, taking that tighter line to bring down the distance between him and Jones. Jones smoothly getting through inside clip number 1, pushing really hard into outside zone 3. And look at that rear left tire right on the edge of the line there. Good execution from Jones as Masuyama was lost in the smoke line for a second. Let's take another look at it again here. Nice smooth arc through inside clip number 1, and great use of angle to slow the car down and then get back on throttle as Masuyama tries to close the door here towards the end.
All right, Masuyama now will lead as Jeff Jones gives chase. Dienda family in the building. What is up? Jason, Nicole, Stephanie, Davis, Ash, Ava, Parker, Tyson. All right. Here we go. Masuyama ready to leave the line. Jeff Jones going to be nipping at his heels. Clean start. Nobody hit a cone. And Masuyama initiates. So almost a role reversal here. Masuyama higher on the bank. Jeff Jones wavering, but does work his way higher. Now let's see how they handle that inside clip number 1 at the traditional start go. No problem for Masuyama. Jeff Jones. Again, this is almost a role reversal, Ryan, here. As Masuyama comes off of that outside zone a little early, hanging it out quite long there into that decel zone and now into that last outside zone. Masuyama taking some angle out of it. That was a solid battle here, head-to-head, Jones and Masuyama.
Yeah, Masuyama did some pretty positive things in his lead run, one of which was getting a nice early initiation, starting at that mid-line, but then working higher on the big bank before he comes off, really accelerates through that inside clip. Didn't slow down too much, and the judges really don't want to see that. We want to see a nice, smooth flow through inside clip number 1. Jones trying to get in the pocket here to keep the pressure on, but he's on a slightly lower line here as Masuyama was deep for a second. However, as you said, Jared, he did come off a little bit early, then pressing into inside clip number 2. Jones taking advantage of Masuyama going a little bit wide there off inside clip number 1, trying to get as close as he can as they enter outside zone number 3. See right there, using the entire course as Masuyama. Jones is able to cut it down a little bit. But as they get through the finish line, a tiny bit of separation there. Close battle between these two competitors. Tough job for the judges here as both wait on the line here to find out who's going to move on into the top 16.
All right, what are the fans thinking? AM Virtual Fan Zone, Jeff Jones fans, Masuyama. We got a warlord joining us. Thank you for tuning in here, Cosmic Coatings. And we got a dog. We got somebody's dog just chilling, bro. Just hanging out. Oh, there's a little Brian Young, little baby Young, B Young Jr.
Yeah, intuitively, just watching the battle naked, I didn't really come away with, oh yeah, that's a winner. I think Masuyama had some areas in his lead where he performed better than Jones. And as we take a look a second time around here, does it become more apparent? Is there a way for one or all of the judges to put that needle in the direction of driver A or driver B, or is this just too close to call here? A good back and forth battle between these two competitors with a lot on the line. Jeff Jones right now sitting in 14th place in the championship. Masuyama 21st, trying to close as much of the season, the 2020 season, as close as they can to that top 10, top 16 in points.
Touch on Rookie of the Year real quick while you have the stats up, or the point standings.
Yeah, he's way outside. Adam LZ has 256 points. Masuyama's got 144, so he can't make that up. So, like
and
you said,
Naren's not part of that equation either, right? I mean, LZ is currently leading. Who's closest to him, and how many points?
Let's see here.
Real quick, we'll get the official verdict here. Masuyama gets Chris Yule's vote, and Ryan Lontaine says one more time. Brian Eggert says one more time. So they're going at it again.
Joking, but yeah, I mean, there's a different driving style. The courses are different. There's a couple that I think are very like FD-esque, like Ogayama.
Yeah. Ogayama. Yep.
Is a little bit more FD style, longer, faster, but
the US, yeah. Okay.
Here we go.
Thank you. Sorry. Here we go. Jeff Jones will be leading Masuyama in that chase position. Whoa, look at that. Nice job by Jones, and Masuyama, you saw him try to surge, throw it to the side, but has to back off. So that could end up hurting him if he doesn't put it together here on the second half of this run, but Jones consistent. Look at that. Into that last outside zone. And this is what we've been talking about. Jeff Jones just stepping up as just a really dynamic, consistent driver. Consistency is key. Again, we talked about Forsberg grabbing that championship without winning an event. It's all about consistency, making sure your car stays together. Ryan.
Well, I love this surging attack here, but you can see that from the setup on that attack, he made a little bit of a flub, and then we're seeing that once he goes in for it, he kind of makes an adjustment there, and then he's got to back off, and he really draws a much lower line. So with Jeff Jones being on throttle there, that looks like that was just a mistake from Masuyama, an aggressive mistake, but one that he's going to pay a bit of a price for. Now Jones, as he enters that second outside zone, is on a mid-high line there, so he's doing a pretty good job as the lead driver and fulfilling those responsibilities. Very close to that inside clip. Masuyama washes out a little bit, comes charging through the smoke line, but Jones is already set up for that final outside zone and gets through the finish line without Masuyama really in close proximity. So now Masuyama's got some work to do here as he will take the lead against Jeff Jones.
All right, here we go. Masuyama out front, Jones in that chase position. We are officially halfway through because Forsberg completed his bye run. This was to be our 8th battle. And Masuyama throws it down high on the bank, stepping up. Wow, look at that. And that's the Masuyama, Ryan, that you were talking about that we've seen in FD Japan. Nasty transition past that inside clip into the second outside zone, digging deep. Jeff Jones, maybe a little phased here. He's got to step up. Way wide on that outside zone is Jones, but Masuyama tightens it up, and that's what we're talking about, Ryan. This is going to be interesting here because once Masuyama got that, you know, the confidence and he got the clean air, he put it up on the wall.
Yeah, that was a great first half of the bank, maybe first a great 3 quarters. He does come off a little bit low though, or a little bit early rather. A big snap to initiation, nice and high on the bank. Look at Jones trying to make some ground here to stay on that line. There it is as he comes through this inside clip here. Big angle, but he pretty much keeps a lot, I would say the minimum necessary forward momentum in that section. Getting to outside zone 2, he got in there aggressively, but he came off a bit early. And as you said, Jones washed out, trying to keep pace. So Jones is kind of in the mix here a little bit. And as Masuyama had some really high moments in his run, but was that mistake in the chase position on the attack, coming down, losing a lot of angle, coming off a line? Is that going to be too much to overcome? The time will tell as the judges are ruminating here on this battle in the top 32.
All right, you can see back there warming up some tires. Looks like Jonathan Castro as Masuyama, Jeff Jones wait to see the outcome. Shout out Adam Jabe. What's up, Jabe? Tuning in. Tell all your friends to tune in, hashtag FDIRW. Seeing a lot of fans tuning in, not just on, of course, that AEM virtual fan zone. Again, if you're watching the fan zone, get a piece of paper, get a whiteboard. We want to see you guys interact with us. Again, this is a no fan event here in the stands. It's definitely eerie, I guess is kind of the weird that comes to mind because this place is electric. Oh, here we go. Slide him left for Jones, right for Masuyama, and Jeff Jones gets the win. Ryan Lontaine going to you, my man. It's the problem on Friday. He went against Dan Burkett and had some issues. Jonathan Castro, would love to see him step up. Again, one of the most electric runs ever in FD history. As Castro, high on the bank, there's Odie, mimicking him with that angle and on the bank. Jonathan Castro coming down Jordan Metzeldon, Toyota Racing, Toyota 86 now into that inner bank. We're only in top 32, and you're already seeing gangster runs like this. Wow, look at Odie just lunge to the side of that. Oh, wow, the Falcon tires, S15, now transitioning back into that outside zone. Ryan, this is a great run from both of these stallions.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what you love to see, especially in the top 32 between 2 competitors here, veterans of the sport, initiating together early on. Odie dives right in. Jonathan Castro, nice and high on the bank. High marks for both drivers as Castro starts to pull a little bit of a gap on Odie coming off the bank, but Odie quickly gets right to him there on that inside clip. Surging forward, trying not to let Castro run away. Here he goes for the second attack as they leave inside clip number 1. Castro enters outside zone 2, nice and deep, but look at this, just half a car length here from Odie Bakchis as they wrap around that inside clip. Through the smoke line is Odie as Castro does a great job getting into that final outside zone, but Odie is right with him. That was a beautiful run, both lead and chase driving there for Odie Bakchis and Jonathan Castro.
Ryan, what do you attribute just Odie's growth as a chase driver? We talked about it. You know, we've seen Aasbo have some, but consistently, Odie is just, it's like the market. It just keeps going up and up.
Yeah, I think he is one of the guys that is just so in tune with what his car can do and just has a really strong natural ability to make things happen in the car, and then the confidence of knowing who he's driving against and when to push at the right time.
I like it. Thank you. Here we go. Odie Bakchis will lead. Jonathan Castro giving chase. Odie initiating going. Castro. Castro needs to mimic that angle. Look at, oh man, Castro, Magic Man throws it to the side. Bakchis, oh no, and just as I say that, announcer's curse sets in. He's taking that inside clip as a souvenir on home. There it goes, it falls off, unfortunately for Castro. If Odie keeps this consistent through the course, I think that's going to be unfortunate to end for Castro. Oh, the wrong side of that inside clip, Ryan. Bummer for Castro.
Yeah, and it was a marker that he carried with him through the second inside clip. It was a great chase run in terms of aggression and proximity, but you could see from that inside clip that unfortunately he just kind of made a little bit of a miscalculation there. Let's see what kind of led up to that, Jared. Bakchis got a good jump. Look at Castro keeping the pressure on, trying to mimic that line, but as he transitions, he goes a little bit too far right and kind of center punches that. He actually makes it look pretty good, but the thing is that once he's back on line, he's actually much lower than Bakchis. So he's got the proximity there, but he's on a line that you don't want to be on, and you can see he's carrying with him that cone as kind of a memento of that mistake. And so, like you said, unfortunately, what was an incredible chase run in terms of proximity just had a big fault there in terms of line.
There it is. Let's make it official. Slide right for Bakchis. Jonathan Castro knocked out, and the end of the season. Looking forward to 2021. All right, let's throw it down to Kyle Mohan, the Mazda Tricks American Ethanol Mazda RX-8 from right here in Long Beach, California. Here comes Gittin Jr. gapping him out of the gate. These RTRs, they got a lot of side bites, so they're not only fast on the straightaway, they're fast on the bank, and you can see that right there. Pulling away from the rotary, the lone rotary, the last starfighter, running the Wankles in Formula Drift. And there's Gittin Jr. running the paces, but where it gets interesting, Ryan, is again, Gittin Jr. and Kyle Mohan having some competition against each other here in this 2020 condensed season.
Yeah, there's always a variable there in knowing exactly what the tendencies are of the driver that you're going against, especially as we switch things up. But as he said, Vaughn gets out to a good jump. Big gap there established by Vaughn against Kyle Mohan. Mohan smartly taking a lower line to try to gain back some of that distance that he lost on the big bank. Now coming into the inner bank here, Mohan did have an opportunity there to attack for a second, but he fell back and got lost in the smoke line. Getting through that inside clip. Good little flick back around to that final outside zone. Here comes Mohan towing up the rear end to get through this last section and cross through the finish line. But now Mohan will have a heavy burden here as he will go to the lead position. Gittin Jr. needs to play it smart here. Every battle counts for the championship as we move on here at the Type S title fight.
All right, Brian Cass watching from home. Cheers, homeboy. Thanks for cranking some brews and watching some FD ripping, shredding. Kyle Mohan will lead. Gittin Jr. giving chase, pulling up to the line. Vaughn, what event was that where he kind of staggered his setup and he gave himself a little bit of run up, which is completely allowed in that chase position? I'm trying to recall which one was it. Was it? Well, it was Wall. But I think he even did it in St. Louis and Seattle.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's completely allowed.
Yeah, to a degree, sorry. But he played it, so he towed the line. All right, so it looks like Gittin Jr. let Mohan giving a little bit of rope there and slacking. Mohan throwing it down. Nice job by Mohan. Vaughn, this isn't just going to be an easy win. The Menace stepping up. Yo, look at that. Flirting with the wall. That was really tight, man. Almost scraping that wing on the wall. And there goes Mohan transitioning back into that last outside zone. And we have seen, oh, look at that. And again, he did hit those pylons, but imagine if that was a wall. That would have been basically just nicking it. A great lead run by Kyle Mohan. And, you know, what do you think? Did the needle go either way?
Mohan throwing everything at it. Nice little initiation there. Gittin smartly gives him a little bit of room on the initiation, not letting Kyle run away too much, trying to keep him close here after Vaughn's solid lead run. But then Mohan gets super close to the wall on that second outside zone, and Vaughn comes up a little bit short there, takes a tighter line into outside zone number 2. Mohan really pounding on the throttle through inside clip 1, pushes a little bit wide, which lets Vaughn kind of nose in a little bit as they crossover through that finish line, and then, as you said, just going a little bit deep into that final outside zone, hitting some of those pylons. Here it is from the sky. You can see Vaughn was pretty aggressive on the bank. Mohan giving him a good lead run to challenge.
Whoa,
and then, right
man.
there, Mohan really committed on that second outside zone. Beautiful bit of driving there from Kyle Mohan. And here we go, the final turn. This is where Gittin takes a slightly tighter line there, but you can also see that Mohan got off course a little bit. So do the judges have enough to go for a winner here? Let's take a look.
Yeah, that was great vehicle awareness there by Vaughn Gittin Jr. Seeing Mohan go off, and he just sucked it up a little bit and kept it not going to those pylons. The AEM virtual fan zone. You got paper there. You got whiteboards. Who do you? I'm seeing Vaughn. I'm seeing JR. Again, again, if you all talk at once, we can't hear any of you, so it sounds like white noise. So let's get some paper going and then get some cheer, and there it is. So Vaughn Gittin Jr. gets the win and continues for his effort of
period one that just came literally probably a half an hour ago. How's the car holding up?
All right. Well, I know one of his favorite movies is Top Gun, and he's got to be like Iceman right now. Cool as ice, and Aasbo taps the wall. He comes out of it. A big correction there, Ryan. So this is what we're talking about, equipment. He only got one burnout box session prior to this battle, and here he is throwing it down, that Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota GR Supra. Ryan Litteral applying some pressure. You saw him kind of get gapped there, but now he gained some momentum and gained some ground and some proximity. Oh man, want to take a look at this again. We were kind of elaborating on, you know, just mental awareness, what's going on with the equipment. Let's take a look at it.
I'll tell you what, the judges are going to be scrutinizing this because they're going to want to say whether or not that's an incomplete from Frederick Aasbo. It's a beautiful save from Aasbo, but let's keep an eye on the wheels. Does he lose drift? And does he have to regain it? I think it's pretty close to an incomplete. It looks like the wheels kind of counter steer here for a second. He's moving them back and forth, and now he's basically drifting again. I think it's going to be a really tough call for the judges to make, but I think it's probably going to be the right call because his wheels were moving around a lot, and there was some understeer there, and that is pretty much close to textbook definition incomplete.
Let's throw this word out there: chaseable lead run. You know, fortunately, Ryan Litteral was back, but unfortunately, he was far back if this was an aggressive run here. But fortunately, he was back, because if he was chasing that close proximity, came out of drift, you might have seen some contact if we were deeper into the competition and seeing the caliber driver. So right now, Frederick Aasbo and his Toyota Supra are back in the pits and taking their NGK competition timeout, Ryan.
For sure, and I'm glad you raised that because it's a very important point that the judges sometimes will use that language, an unchaseable lead, to basically say if a chase driver was in proximity and you did that thing that we just saw, would have it affected the chase? And in that case, yes. But then we also have the secondary part, which is just on the basis of the criteria of losing drift and the tires going to zero angle or understeering and then having to basically reinitiate, that's also kind of a textbook definition of an incomplete. So I'm going to assume, for sake of conversation, that Aasbo has an incomplete, no matter what happens on this competition timeout, which means that Ryan Litteral has a huge opportunity here to eliminate a championship contender in the top 32.
And he wants to just win. I mean, let's be honest, Ryan Litteral wants to win this thing. He knows he's not in the hunt, but this dark horse, giant killer, whatever term you want to call it, figure of speech, Frederick Aasbo made the mistake independently. Ryan Litteral could just be gifted an advancement and also have that title, you know, Dragon Slayer.
I don't want to jump too far ahead, but, you know, even though the run is over from Ryan Litteral's standpoint after Aasbo incompletes, because it's done by the lead driver, as we start thinking about some of the possible scenarios here, Frederick Aasbo has that 448 points coming into this round. If he only locks in top 32 points, or he had 432, if he only locks in the top 32 points, he had 448. Guess who's got 444? Chelsea Denofa.
Ooh-wee.
So that means that there could be a switch from Denofa to Aasbo going into the top 3 if Aasbo is eliminated here. So there's a lot more on the line than just a championship. It's top 3 in points.
All right, so we are seeing Travis Reeder on the start line. Matt Sopa, our line starter here. Matt Sopa on the Ropa. as Travis Reeder in Old Red, the S13. He says, yeah, lay back and listen to Old Red. Turn it up there, Kemp. Let the fans hear what they want to hear. And there it is. Travis Reeder crosses the finish line, and that will be his bye run. He advances. Who's he's going to go against? It's either going to be one of the Falcon vehicles, one of two, that is Matt Field, or Justin Pollack. We have plenty of Falcon vehicles on course, and there you can see 3:40 left on the clock. And again, Papadakis working on many different vehicles, you know, preparing, and then they have kind of their own crews. And we can see Aldo, who works on Jonathan Castro's team, part of the Papadakis team. And Freddie just waits. Right now, you know, what's going through Freddie's head? You know, he's got to be thinking about what went wrong, what can I do, how can I do it, and I'm going to throw it on a gangster run in that chase position behind Ryan Litteral.
It's hard to know what exact feelings and emotions are going through his head. Obviously, there has to be, in some sense, disappointment, but you don't know why that happened, if there was something wrong with the vehicle, if it was a driver mistake. We didn't find out till later, as we bring on Judge Ryan Lantain, about Ryan Turk last night. His was a driver mistake. And in this case, we don't know from Aasbo whether or not, you know, that's the case.
Ryan, going to you.
Yeah, a little bit of insight here. Aasbo hasn't driven this car since Friday night. And when he drove it last, the conditions were 100% different than what they are right now.
Right.
And then there was a whole competition yesterday, and now you're on a much hotter track. So I'm sure the track surface is nowhere near what he was used to. He did zero practice today because his car wasn't able to practice. So he's running with data that he probably had from Friday. And even though they ran maybe in warmer conditions, I think it's hotter today than it was Friday anyway.
It does.
He's running on 2 days without having driven that car, and he's in competition. Needs to throw that thing as hard as he can, because Litteral is not a driver that's going to give him any room, and he's got to push hard. So just pushed maybe a little bit too much, and you know, one of those things that if you don't push hard enough, sometimes you'll regret it. And if you push a little too hard, you can also regret it. But that fine line is so hard to walk when you've got no practice.
Yeah, the burnout box is not going to tell him much.
No, exactly.
All right, here we go. Moving on to our next battle. Travis Reeder will go against one of these teal and blue whips. We're looking at Matt Field, the Beast from the Bay, and that Falcon Tires, Pedal Commander, Drift Cave Corvette, and of course JTP, originally from Michigan, now living here in Southern California, in the Falcon Tires, Roush Performance, Ford Mustang. Here we go, fellas. Teal and blue all over the track. That's Falcon Tire livery. Matt Field initiate, throwing it into the bank. JTP, you can see him. Okay, inching closer with every turn and burn. Past that inside clip. Now into the inside zone. Yes, sir, Matt Field bringing it tight to that wall. But look at JTP sweating Field. Now coming into that last outside zone. Getting all the way out to those pylons, but not knocking them over, just blowing out the candles, not knocking over the actual candlestick. Well done by both of the Falcon rides.
Yeah, historically not a battle that you would expect to see in the top 32. Two big-time contenders here. Matt Field swinging down low, getting that initiation. Here comes Justin Pollack. Big smoke line now starting to develop for both drivers as they get through that bank. A nice angle off the bank from Field. Pollack through the smoke line and inside clip number 1. Transitioning into the inner bank. Pollack closing the door on Matt Field, but Matt going deep into outside zone number 2. Great job there. Good pressure by Pollack as they pass through inside clip number 2. And then the final setup here, wrapping around outside zone number 3.
Oh, 20 seconds left. And Laurent Nickel just told me their rear toe arm is what they're fixing. Okay, and you can see that. We are ratcheting. You can see that's oh man. Boom, drop it like it's hot, literally. Yo! Wow. Look at that, less than 5 seconds left. Hey, hats off to the whole crew and team. Look at that. That was close. So the question is, was it buttoned up? Was it prepared properly? Like Ryan said, you know, he had the burnout box. definitely different, you know, feedback and you know, all the insight that he got from Friday into this.
Man, crazy.
Yep. Irwindale, am I right? 2020, am I right? Here we go, JTP, Matt Field, Justin Pollack. Wow, look at that, up on the wall. Absolutely savaged by JTP. Matt Field, front row and center in a clinic. Now into that inner zone, Field taking a shallower line. And Justin Pollack absolutely exchanging paint with both of the walls. Let's see how he handles this final outside zone. And here comes Matt Field, gaining that proximity, and oh, man.
Oh, my gosh. Just on principle, I want to see that again.
Yo, that was sick. I mean, if that was a qualifying run, JTP would have scored. I mean, he's one of the few that has a 100-point perfect qualifying score.
Well, look at this. I mean, right at the get-go, he's up riding on the wall. I mean, that may have been the best outer bank that we've seen all weekend in competition. Beautifully executed. And Matt Field, not phased. He's on a little bit of a lower line as he comes on after inside clip number 1, but quickly realizes that he's got to get back. Now Justin, massive angle on outside zone number 2. Perfect on inside clip number 2. Through the smoke line is Field, and here comes Justin Pollack on that final outside zone. Beautiful lead run.
Wow, I really liked Justin Pollack out front. Like you said, he didn't seem phased until kind of the second inner bank, talking about Field, and you can see that very impressive chase run there, even by Field, but watch it coming in the inner bank. What I really like about Justin's run is we like the nasty flick, snappy transition, but he didn't do it here, and I think it paid off for him because it didn't need that X factor. You know, that was a nice fluid, not Pollack-esque, because again, it didn't need that.
Well, he still did things that maybe 5 people in the entire world can do, and that's ride the bank the entire time around, just very lightly rubbing your bumper on the wall without crashing, and being up in the tire marble.
Yeah, taking a look here, the fans, we got our Maximum Driftcast fans. Let's take a look at the BC Racing Custom Coilover side-by-side instant replay.
So, I mean, I think you have to say that Pollack probably has the better of the 2 lead runs. You know, is it going to come down to the chase? Where do we see any opportunity to show a point of differentiation, right? A point of difference between driver A and driver B. Did Pollack do enough in his chase run to push this one forward?
Yeah, and again, I think that the big thing here is that second outside zone. The second outside zone is the true indicator and the litmus test of, you know, lead versus lead, chase versus chase. That was a good one, man. That was a good battle.
Yeah, you never like to see anybody lose on the last day of the year, but the judges are coming in here quick.
Oh, we got a one more time from Ryan Lontaine. And Brian Egger says JTP, so.
Not we, but Frederick Aasbo and his team. Let's assume an incomplete, and I'm pretty sure after looking at the judges that that's what it is.
Yeah, here we go. Let's go. Ryan Litteral, Frederick Aasbo. Major pressure on Frederick Aasbo's shoulders and the steer wheel in his hand. Ryan Litteral running high on the bank. Frederick Aasbo knows he needs to leave it all out on the track or his weekend is done, as well as his championship efforts. Ryan Litteral throwing down a gangster run. Mr. 909-951 is lit, literally. Ryan Litteral bringing into that final outside zone. Frederick Aasbo, is this enough? Again, after assuming, woo, that is a great chase run. All the fans, I'm sure, are in agreement. The big thing is that first run with Frederick out front was at an incomplete.
Remember, Aasbo incompleted. I'm putting that in parentheses, in the lead. So that means that Ryan Litteral would have to incomplete in the lead. There's no incomplete here, Jared.
It was a solid run by Ryan Litteral.
Ryan Litteral went out and did his job, even with Frederick Aasbo putting the pressure on him. And we're going to start seeing these things happen. This is probably the end of Frederick Aasbo's 2020 campaign. He's currently sitting right now in 3rd place with 448 points, and that may be all that he gets in 2020.
And again, the story is, you know, just like you said prior to the beginning of this, right as they were starting, you know, just all the little nuances, all those little things. You know, again, it's the tow arm, it's the engine, it's this, just backtracking here. And here is the RTR team, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Chelsea Denofa, and the RTR teams looking on to find out the outcome here. Again, Turk sitting in second. He is in the top 16. Slide of left for Aasbo, right for Ryan Litteral. Chris Yule says Ryan Litteral. Lantain says Ryan Litteral gets the win. Frederick Aasbo is knocked out. His championship effort is over for 2020. Ryan Litteral gets the win, and it is unanimous. Ryan Lantain, going to you, the judge. We're going to turn you on here, and again, these guys are watching. They're tuning in, and again, round of applause from that RTR team. They're stoked. Litteral, was that first run by Freddie incomplete?
Yes, absolutely it was. On outside zone number 1, when he hit the wall, you could see his front wheels actually turning down the bank, and then went straight for quite a distance before getting the car back to angle. And props to Ryan Litteral for having that kind of pressure on him, knowing that all he needed to do was put together that lead run, and he put together a solid lead run. He wasn't put out of place by Aasbo being so close to him. He wasn't intimidated by that, and he put together a run and he got the win.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ryan Litteral. As we have Adam, sorry, not Ryan Litteral, Ryan Lantain. Sorry, I got my R's and my L's confused there. All right, Adam LZ versus Alec Robbins, and 2 FD rookies, as Adam LZ has been dealt all these veterans. Remember when he made his pro debut, we saw him go against Chris Forsberg, we saw him go against Vaughn, and here he is, 2 FD rookies in the pro championship. LZ back behind the wheel of his Injuku Racing, BC Racing S15. Alec Robbins, great to see him back after we missed him in Texas. All right, so here we go. And the 350Z, look at LZ, slingshot out of that start chicane, gapping him. But watch Robbins, man. He has a lot of power on deck. Look at him, reeling him in. Man, looks like he's going deep sea fishing for some LZ tuna. Coming past that front clip, now into that second outside zone. Goes out of LZ, not all the way deep, but there it is. That's what Robbins does. You can see him right there on the door of the S15. They're going to leave it all out on track. They know this is the final round of competition. Little wavering correction there by LZ as they cross the finish line.
Well, Robbins is probably not really happy with himself on the jump out of that gate. He got out of the gate a bit early and then had to kind of stop for a second, and that led to this gap where he started chasing down Adam LZ. He's not really in the fight till about here. Now he starts getting in, keeping that proximity on. Now, luckily for Robbins, LZ's not running the greatest lead line. He cut outside zone 2 a little bit short. That gave Robbins an opportunity to think about his preparation for his lead run. But he did make a mistake, Robbins, that is, getting out of the gate a little bit late and giving that edge and distance to Adam LZ about maybe more than halfway through the bank.
LZ currently leading with a confident, I mean, over 100 points over Alec Robbins, or sorry, just under 100 points over Alec Robbins. So Adam LZ will most likely be your Formula Drift Rookie of the Year unless Alec Robbins continues on and essentially wins the event. But Adam LZ just garnering a lot of fans and bringing him into Formula Drift, and it's great to see him just make the decision going from Pro 2 to Pro, and that was purely based on, well, I'll be at all the locations for the Pro 2 championship, why not enter Pro? And I think he's done really well in spades. So here we go. Alec Robbins will lead Adam LZ, giving chase. Robbins initiates. LZ back there quite a bit. Oh, and Robbins taps, not once, but twice. Shaken, not stirred, continues on, keeps it high, and that was due to him tapping the wall. Robbins got a lot of horsepower under the hood, or just poking out of that 350Z. LZ taking a shallower line, but brings it tight to that front clip, and Robbins continues through the course. LZ tucking into that smoke trail. So you can see Robbins definitely has a little bit more horsepower than that of LZ, just separating and pulling away from LZ.
Well, at first glance, I'm thinking that this may come down to the chase runs because both drivers had some mistakes in their lead. Right there, a pretty sizable mistake from Robbins. You can see the front wheels really adjusting. He was able to give a good save. Let's take a second look at it here. This is from on top of the tower. He's going to tap the rear bumper, make a big adjustment, and then moving back around to that inside clip. Now, LZ was not really in the mix here. He started to close the door a little bit on this inside bank, taking a slightly lower line there, but was not able to fully grasp the back bumper of Alec Robbins. Didn't get super tight to him. Robbins, huge plume of smoke. LZ.
We'll go against Ryan Litteral, and here are the results of LZ and Robbins, and Adam LZ moves on. I know his fans are ravenous, and they are excited about seeing Adam LZ advance on to the top 16, baby. 04, and it finally has come in.
It's finally come in a little bit.
Yoshihara, Kenshiro, Gushi, the OG versus Slide or Die, Jiro. All right, Die out front, Ken Gushi in that chase position. Ken Gushi, he's had a lot of gremlins as well, as Yoshihara keeps it high on the bank, and Ken Gushi in that chase position, that rowdy energy, Toyota racing, Toyota GR Supra, chasing him down. Look at that, woo, we got some banging. Knocking on Dai's door, not heaven's door, as we bring it across that final outside zone, filling all of it, and across the finish line.
Ken Gushi is obviously very hungry here. His team going through a tremendous amount of effort to rebuild his engine from Friday. Got the win here last year, wants to do it again. But Daijiro Yoshihara standing in his way. Great job through that inside clip after a solid bank. Coming into outside zone 2, mid-line to high line there by Daijiro Yoshihara, and the pressure from Ken Gushi starting to compress through inside clip number 1. They make contact. No major movement there from Dai as Gushi gets right back on it. And a beautiful way to start this all-Japan battle here between Daijiro Yoshihara and Ken Gushi.
And OGs, right? I mean, these guys, we always jokingly, you know, jokingly and lovingly always call Dai Ken and Ken Dai, you know, just because, I mean, you've never seen them in this, no, you have seen them in the same room together, so joking. All right, so Ken Gushi will now lead, and we talked about, you know, he showed his oil pan the other day. Don't want to see the metal in your oil, and that's what happened to him. So I know him and his crew worked over the night, you know, from Friday into yesterday, and now here the car is running. But look at that, it's purging the nitrous here, that rowdy energy Toyota racing Toyota GR Supra going against the Turn 14 Distribution Falcon Tire Subaru BRZ of Dai Yoshihara. Kenshiro Gushi and Daijiro Yoshihara. Gush will lead, the OG. Here we go. Send it. Come on, fellas. Ken Gushi initiates on the bank. Yoshihara give himself some room, but now gains that proximity. Lower on the bank is Yoshihara. Ken Gushi, something to prove as Dai makes a major correction there, coming off the bank, and a quick little transition and flick. Oh, and Dai straightens out a big correction once again. Yoshihara really fighting and struggling with the vehicle. You have to think that something is afoot. Oh, another correction on that transition. Ryan Sage, we're looking at Dai making mistakes in that chase position. Ken Gushi putting his car in all the right places. Oh man, bummer for Dai, but Ken Gushi is stoked.
Yeah, these are the kind of signs that you like to see from a driver like Ken Gushi. Looks like he's got his confidence back. And both runs were high-risk runs. Look at this initiation, nice and high on the bank. Beautiful job there. Daijiro Yoshihara comes a bit unstuck there, makes a mistake in the chase coming off the bank. And then the one you mentioned here on outside zone number 2, right there, that's a big one. That probably isn't incomplete. But Ken Gushi unfazed, huge Achilles smoke line off of outside zone 2. And then Dai trying to get back in the game here, but Ken Gushi making it tough for him as he crosses the finish line.
And if you can recount, last year, Ken Gushi took it to the top here at Irwindale, and that was, I believe, just a very emotional and just respectful victory for the OG Ken Gushi. Slide him left for Yoshihara, right for Ken Gushi, and there it is. Ken Gushi, the Goosh, gets the win, and our top 16 is set. We're talking about the Royal Purple top